Hey everybody, welcome to Hiya!
Hiya!
What you got for us today, Daniel?
Today we are going to be discussing the 18 elements of training for ninjutsu. We're just going to mention what those 18 are, and I'm sure Shelley will have some questions along the way.
Definitely.
But in the weeks to come, we're going to break them down one by one. We'll probably do, I don't know, maybe like 3 a show, depending, some will go by kind of quick, but some others might take a little bit more time. But today, we're just going to tell you what those 18 elements are. And bear with me, as my Japanese speech is not the best. I think this first one's the hardest to pronounce, probably.
Ooh.
It is Seishin Teki Kyoyo.
Kyoyo!
And okay. That is spiritual refinement.
Ooh. Okay, I have some questions about that, actually.
All right. Well, you go ahead and whenever we get to something you have a question about, you let me know and we will address it. Yeah.
Okay.
If I don't know, we will address it when we break it down in the weeks to come, and I'll just have to say, you know what, I'm a dummy and I just don't know that yet.
We'll have to research. Okay. I'm very much into the spiritual realm of things. And so, do ninjas incorporate, like with Reiki, they do the 7 chakras? Do ninjas incorporate the 7 chakras with their spiritual refinement techniques?
I'm not 100% sure about that one. Actually, that's probably something we will have to break down in the later show. Although I will say I can never recall hearing anything about that. While ninjas do practice a degree of magic or supernatural type things, the Chinese are really more into doing the magic in like kung fu and stuff like that.
You said magicking. Yeah. Okay, I have another question. What about meditation? Is meditation a big part of it?
Meditation is key. In ninjutsu. It's probably one of the things that I will struggle with the most, as I do have a difficult time turning off my mind. But yes, meditation is super important in ninjutsu. I can tell you that much.
Okay, and my third and final question on spiritual refinement would be, okay, in witchcraft and in a lot of other religions, I guess you'd call them, or whatever, they do a lot of manifestation techniques. So are there manifestation techniques within the ninja spiritual refinement?
That's something I would rather do the research on as well, because like if you watch a lot of movies, you'll see a lot of these types of magical type things, like the ability to disappear and things like that are legendary and mythical, actually. But I'm not saying that there could not be some degree of that to be done.
What about like mind control?
They definitely use, well, once again, I say they definitely, but unfortunately, that's, once again, I'm making references to ninja movies, because I'm not that well versed on the spiritual stuff, except for what I've seen from movies, which we know is mostly fictitious. Yeah. But yeah, as far as movies go, ninjas are definitely have the ability to hypnotize others.
Oh, they're vain, kind of like vampires.
In a way.
And they're stealthy.
I would hate to say that's something for real without doing the actual research on it and just taking it from the movies, because there's so much phony stuff in the movies.
Do your research, people, if you want answers to the questions I just asked.
Well, we'll be exploring it.
Yeah, and we'll like probably next week we'll come back with some answers.
Well, it will be next week, because that's the first element.
All right, awesome.
So, if you don't have any more questions about the spiritual refinement,
I do not.
The second is Taijutsu, unarmed combat. That's your basic martial arts, could be anything. Muay Thai, Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu. But most ninjas, I believe, did not assign themselves to one particular style of martial arts.
So unarmed means no weapons.
Correct.
Okay, and a question I have: can you like strike below the belt, or do the same no crotch rules apply?
Well, ninjas don't participate in tournaments, and they don't follow any rules of any kind. They're out to kill you by any means possible,
Great.
Whether it be above or below the belt. So,
okay, so if you lose your PP, that's the break.
That's life in the ninja world.
Okay, that's my only question for that.
Okay, the next one of my favorite ones.
All right.
Ninja Ken, which is the use of the ninja sword.
Yes, this is your favorite. Okay, I have a question about the swords. I noticed that some are like straight and some are curved at the tip. Why are some of them curved at the tip? What are those for?
Well, that's actually a good question, and trust me, when we do the sword segment, that might be a whole show on itself, just because I be loving the swords. A katana, for example, has a curved blade, and the reason some have a curved blade is because they have a better swiping motion, a slashing motion, if you will.
Okay.
And so a lot of samurai used them. That's why they have the nickname samurai sword, even though they are a katana. They're their own sword.
Ooh, okay.
But samurais used them a lot because they rode on horseback, and it allowed for good swiping while riding by on horseback. Whereas a ninja sword has a shorter straight blade, better for poking and impaling and that type of action, because that's more tailored to the type of things that the ninja would use that type of sword for.
Okay.
But don't be mistaken, ninjas will use a katana sword. The katana is always going to be my favorite. They're the most beautiful of all swords. We'll get into a whole bunch more on swords, though. Like I said, swords could be an entire show on their own, just because I love them so much. The fourth element is Bojitsu, which is stick and staff fighting. Some examples of stick and staff weapons would be eskrima sticks, or what those are. They're usually made of rattan or some other lightweight wood, and they range usually between 26 and 28 inches long. Sometimes they come in pairs. I can't see why you wouldn't get them in pairs, honestly.
Why not?
And these are what I basically call whipping sticks, because you just basically you pick them up and you beat the hell out of people with them. If anybody's ever seen the movie The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman,
we'll review that one.
He's probably, it's not a ninja movie, but we'll do some martial arts movies too, for sure.
Yeah, nice.
Jeff Speakman's probably the best dude I've ever seen with a couple of whipping sticks. I mean, he just beats the crap out of some people with them. Then you got your bow staffs, which range from like 48 inches to like 72 inches. That's the type of, for any layman out there that know the Ninja Turtles, that's the weapon that Donatello used. Kind of looks like a big pool stick, only it's not tapered down to one end or whatever. But yeah, basic idea: you twirl it around and whip some ass with it. You got tonfas. A tonfa looks a lot like a police billy club. It's got the little handle with the part that sticks out past your fist, and then the part that runs down your forearm. Blam, blam. So anyway, Bojitsu is stick and staff fighting, and all those stick type weapons are included. 3-section staff. I would imagine even nunchucks are probably involved in that type of training, as they are a stick type weapon. of
Okay.
sorts.
Well, I had one question about it. Are the sticks just like straight up sticks, or are there any that have like a sickle on the tip, like the Grim Reaper?
Well, we will get down to that when we get down to the 8th training element. So
All right.
we'll address that when we get down to number 8.
Number 5.
Number 5, or the 5th element, is Shuriken Jutsu. That is throwing blades. That would include throwing knives and everybody's favorite, throwing stars.
Now, I remember when I was a little kid, my best friend's brother was crazy for throwing stars. They were all the rage back in like the 80s.
The 80s was a great time for ninja fanatics. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody was into it, so it's so easy to find now. There's very limited places that you can buy them. I did find them online, and luckily my son bought me some for Christmas, and I'm going to get some more. But yeah, throwing stars and throwing knives can be a lot of fun and a great way, a great little hobby, even if you're not going to be a ninja, to have it in the backyard. You set up a target and throw knives, throw throwing stars, you can throw axes. There's all throwing spikes. There's all kinds of things that you can just throw, and I bet that would be a very entertaining hobby, even if you could care less about being a ninja.
Oh, I think it would be fun. It's like kind of like throwing knives in the carnival.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
I think it would be fun.
Okay, the next one I don't know a whole lot about. It is Yari Jutsu, spear fighting.
Okay. I had a question about
All
spear
right,
fighting.
I will try. I don't know much about it, but I'll give it a try.
Okay, I was just curious. Can one ninja use a spear? Like, say there are two ninjas fighting, right? One's got a spear and the other one uses like a sai or a sword. Or do they both have to use a sai, or both have a sword, or both have a spear?
And once again, there are no rules. It's not a tournament. Their goal is to just eliminate one another by any means possible. So the correct answer to that is a ninja should carry whatever weapon he is best with.
Okay.
For example, I'm never going to be an expert with nunchucks. I'm just not.
Our son is.
You know, I have to give props to Bruce Lee. I've never seen anybody that could work them like that guy.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that guy. But I'm pretty darn good with a sword. So that would be my weapon of choice to carry above anything else would be a sword. Somebody else might be really good with sais. That's what they should take with them. Or, you know, me. I'm going to be one of those pack down ninjas that's got like 5 of every weapon around me like that. I'm like the old dude from I'm Gonna Get You, sucker, that had 80 guns on him. That's going to be me with ninja weapons. I'd barely be able to walk because I got like 80 extra pounds of metal attached to
So
me,
you won't even be able to like ninja out.
Right. Yeah, the best thing that could happen
People
to
hear
me.
you coming.
Best thing that could happen to me is if I explode and all the blades fly into my enemies and somehow I survive. So yeah, that's the answer to that. Ninjas should carry whatever weapon.
They're best at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as far as like spears, I don't know much about spears, so we'll have to learn about that. And that kind of bleeds over into the next one too, of which I'm not that knowledgeable about, but I can tell you what one is, and that is Naginata Jutsu, or halberd fighting.
Yeah, I've never heard of that at all.
For those who don't know, a halberd's essentially a big-ass blade at the end of a long stick. As you can imagine, this probably started out as like another one of those Okinawan farming tools that somebody said, you know what, this make a hell of a good weapon.
Oh,
and they probably just picked it up and started swiping, probably killed a bunch of dudes with it, and they're like, hell yeah, halberd!
And they were probably disguised as a peasant.
Most likely disguised as a poor farmer, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Everything I might have just said may be bull crap for all we know. We'll find out.
Research.
We'll find out for sure when we go over the Naginata Jutsu.
We're no ninjas. We're just a couple of white folks.
Now, the next one you already had a question about earlier. You asked if they had a sickle type weapon.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask if that.
They have two sickle type weapons. One is called the Kama. That's not like a comma. It's a comma, a K-A-M-A.
Okay.
Since my dialect can get a little bit transcribed over voice.
Yes.
It's not C-O-M-M-A like in a sentence. It's C-A-M-A, comma sticks. And those basically look like little miniature Grim Reaper sickles.
So they should be called coma sticks.
Perhaps. Well, you're probably not. You'd be lucky to be in a coma. You're probably going to die. Anyway, they have usually like, I want to say about a 15-inch long handle and a 7-inch sickle at the end. And you can do a variety of things with them. But the 8th element is Kusarigama. And Kusarigama is an actual weapon. And what it is, it's a handle and then a chain, a long metal chain. And then it has one of those commas that we were just talking about attached to it at the other end. And a lot of times you'll see what ninjas will do is they'll throw the comma stick, hook their enemy by the leg or by the neck. And if they don't just completely sever it, they'll drag them to them and then unwind them and then finish them off with the comma stick end of it.
Okay.
So, yes, they definitely use some sickle-type instruments, and they were probably definitely Okinawa farmer-inspired.
And you know what? Just off topic, kind of, but it's not. I wonder if that's where they got the like image of the Grim Reaper, because the Grim Reaper kind of looks like a ninja. You know what I mean?
That could be.
Do your research.
You are the fact finder, ma'am. So maybe you guys have to look up the origins of the Grim Reaper and see if that happens to clash up in there.
You know, I like my nerdy research.
So the next element, number 9, is Kayaku Jutsu.
Kayaku! And
that is fire and explosives. And I feel like that is so much more fun than any of us are going to be able to have, unless there's some of you explosive making experts out there. And if there is, when I get that email up, holla, because I needs to get some of these for myself. But in the movies especially, you see when they want to disappear or distraction, they got those cool smoke bombs they throw down and they say, whoosh, and the ninja disappears behind
I like those for my shelf.
And they're also using, dynamite and crap like that to blow things up. And they also use fires to indicate where they've been if there's a team of ninjas and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool stuff that unfortunately a lot of us
are not allowed.
Won't be able to do. I mean, yeah, we can maybe get some M80s come 4th of July time, but that's hardly a stick of dynamite, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad you can't get that.
Well, never say never. Thanks to the internet and the good friends and the word of mouth. If you want anything bad enough, you can find it.
But we're not condoning that. We are not
I don't condone any breaking of the law. I'm just saying that things can be obtained if one is so committed.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is it always acceptable to use explosives?
Once again,
anything
I think a lot of your questions
Ninja's like a free-for-all.
They do. Their mission is to, like I said on the last show, the essence of being a ninja is to be a winner. And that means at any cost. You may have saw from the movie that we're going to review later. I got her to watch a ninja movie with me.
My gosh.
Which is awesome.
My first one.
You can tell by watching that. There's no limits. It's murder.
It's murder all around. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. That's ninja.
So the next thing is Henso Jutsu, which is disguise and impersonation. A very important part because, as we know, a key part of being an assassin is stealth and espionage. And part of that is going to be disguise and impersonation. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I want to look up. I haven't had a chance to, but it made me wonder what's the most infamous ninja disguise that ever was.
Well, the most common disguise used by the ninja, especially, way back in the day when they originated, you hear me talking all the time about how most of these weapons started out as being Okinawan farming tools. Well, that's what their probably most common disguise was as farmers and or peasants. Um, because the farms were always being attacked, because the families were always being attacked, and so they just disguised themselves as peasant farmers out on the farms and assassinated those who attempted to cause them harm.
Oh, that's pretty smart of them, actually. Stealthy.
Well, it's funny you say stealthy,
Why is
because
that?
number 11 is Shinobi Iri, or stealth and entering methods.
Oh,
I
Obi-Wan
really
Shinobi.
can't wait for all of us to dive into that one deeper together, because I think that's some of the most interesting stuff that the ninja does.
Sneakily.
They're
Sneaks.
so good at, and they can do this in the middle of the day without being seen, because they're just good at what they do.
I think you kind of have a little ninja in your blood, because you're constantly creeping up on me and scaring me.
I have
Constantly.
as
Gives me
I spoke
sweats.
to you off record earlier about this, but ninjas and Native Americans share a lot of the same traits when it comes to that. Native Americans were very, very quiet. They could walk on dry leaves without making a sound, To me, that's some pretty ninja sounding stuff, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they always surveyed an area before they made an attack, and just all that kind of things. So the stealth and entering methods, I'm really looking forward to learning more with you guys.
Yeah.
Because I think it's super interesting. The next element, number 12, is Bajutsu, horsemanship. Now,
I love
my wife will be super interested in this, and unfortunately, this is another topic of which I am extra limited.
Oh, I'm going to research.
On my knowledge. Yeah, I might actually rely on Shelley for more information on this than me. Horses aren't really my thing.
Oh, they're my thing. I grew up with horses, around horses.
To me, horses are more of a snooty-o samurai thing. I've got no use for those snooty-ass samurais. Ninjas rule, and that's just the way it is.
Ninjas rule! Hiya!
Hiya! So, at any rate, do you have any questions I may be able to answer about the horsemanship?
Not right now. I think I'm going to do a little bit of research and dive in, and maybe you'll have questions for me.
Most likely.
All right.
All right, you snooty samurai. You find out about your horses. The next one, element number 13, is suiren, or water training.
Okay.
So you can imagine this probably involves snorkeling with a piece of bamboo under
a lot
bridge.
Of breath holding.
A lot of that.
Free diving.
A lot of just laying still underwater for hours, maybe, waiting for your enemy to cross a bridge, possibly.
I had a question after you're done.
If nothing else, ninjas are committed to whatever they're doing. And that might mean laying with a piece of bamboo in your mouth up out of the water underneath a bridge for 6 hours till your enemy crosses. But guess what?
Pruny duck.
Sooner or later, your enemy will cross, and then you can cut their damn legs off, and that will be awesome. So you had a question.
Yeah, I just wondered, I don't know if you know this or not, but I just kind of thought, I wonder if Navy SEALs use some of the ninja techniques in their training?
Well, my guess is that they most likely do, but do not give the ninja any credit for it.
Right.
Just like the typical, especially the United States, to suck all the truth and tradition out of something and claim it for their own selves.
Yeah. That's a whole nother show.
I would think that they use some of very similar training but they're never going to give the ninja credit for it. So
yeah,
you're not going to find anything in writing saying, yeah, we learned this from the.
right.
They would prefer to pretend that
They invented
ninjutsu doesn't even exist. So
okay.
you know,
I didn't know we felt
yeah,
that way. Or they felt that way.
You know, I don't believe in aliens, but let's say an alien did come down and teach the government something, and they taught all our troops that. They wouldn't give those aliens any credit. They'd be like, aliens don't exist. We told you.
That's
this.
Right. That's right.
But that's a discussion for
that's
another
what I said.
day.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah,
baby.
That's a discussion for another day.
Yes.
I know you and I have differing opinions as far as that goes.
Let's agree to disagree.
We can indeed. So, in the spirit of moving on, number 14.
Thank you, sir.
Which is Ryaku. Sounds like one of your words.
Kagamush Hayaku.
And that is strategy. So I'm also certain that the government employs a lot of ninja type strategies and also will give them zero credit.
But we give them credit because we know the truth.
And a lot of these last ones all
that was my question
fit in together
for the next one too, because my questions kind of all fit in together for number 15.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and say 15. It's called Choho.
Choho.
One of the easiest ones to pronounce, actually. Choho.
We're probably pronouncing it wrong.
Well, we were just talking about
or something.
Espionage.
Yes.
We all know that's spying.
Uh-huh.
And most of the reason why a ninja would spy is because he's trying to case the joint to go and invade it later.
Yeah. And that was my question. Do government agencies look to the ninja ways for this? But most likely they do, but they're not going to admit
it wouldn't be, and I hate to roll into the movies or whatever again.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be surprised me, art imitates life sometimes.
Absolutely it does.
And it wouldn't be the least bit surprising to me that the government doesn't still, or any wealthy people, quite honestly, still hire certain ninjas from overseas to do dirty work.
Well, what about if
O.J. Simpson was smart, he would have hired a ninja, saved himself a lot of trouble.
They wouldn't even found no glove.
He got money. No, they wouldn't have found anything. They wouldn't have known that Nicole Brown Simpson ever existed, let alone her little waiter boyfriend.
Right. And we're not trying to diminish the crime. I mean, it was terrible what happened. But, yeah. So, the government, but that's what I was wondering, too, because you see, in movies, people that will rob, art galleries or whatever, all these big banks and things that have all these laser beams everywhere, and you got to tiptoe all over it and don't touch the beam and, come down on a Batman hook. All that is ninja, right?
I can't say what
it has to be.
I can't say what the government does, and I can't say what wealthy people do because I ain't wealthy people.
No.
But
we're rich and where it counts.
Here's what I can tell you.
Yes.
If I become wealthy and become a big Powerball winner, I will definitely have a team of ninjas working for me doing all kinds of stuff.
We're going to have a dojo.
Some people got security cameras. I'll have ninjas on my fence. You know what I mean? And yeah, I will definitely employ some ninjas if I become wealthy.
Okay. Number 16.
Number 16 is Ninjuystsu, escape and concealment.
Okay.
Important because a ninja would rather be killed than be taken hostage.
Okay.
Yeah, they would rather die with honor than fail at their mission. That's the ninja way. So escape and concealment, very important. And that's that is almost that ties in with all the other ones we were just talking about: the strategy, the espionage, the stealth and entering methods. And the last two are probably more of interest to you.
Yeah. For sure.
You got the Tenman, which is meteorology.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean they can control the weather.
Dang. That was
Native Americans did do rain dances and stuff like that.
Witches, too.
For ninjas, it's more about being observant and seeing what insects do and seeing what the grass does and that type of thing.
Observing nature.
Observing nature
Gotcha.
To tell what weather is coming, so they know the best way
kind of like
to.
the old sailors and stuff.
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, people have been looking for signs to detect
Sure.
the weather forever.
Yeah.
And the ninja's no different when it comes to that.
Okay.
And then the very last element is Chiman, or geography.
Okay.
Geography, that just means that the ninja looks at the terrain around him, looks to see if there's been any tracks.
Okay, that was I have two questions about your last one.
And basically looks for the best method to get from point A to point B, whether it be go over the mountain or through the stream or whatever. They make these determinations based on the geography they see in front of them.
Okay, because those were my questions about meteorology and geography. One, I wondered if they use constellations like maps, and you kind of went over that. And two, I wondered, and you answered this, do they track people kind of like the Native Americans used to track animal prints, you know?
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. They look
Another
for
similarity there.
when they're trying to track down another ninja or whoever they're trying to assassinate. It's not always another ninja, unfortunately, for the person that they're after. Yeah, they're looking for signs to try and find them. You know, just like looking for a missing person. You would look for, you know, signs that they had been there. A little torn article of clothing or what have you.
Just a little bent branch or, yeah.
But they also look at it and they know, like, a rocky ledge would give away, so he didn't go that way. You know, he went that way. That type of thing.
They know the terrain, yeah.
Correct. So
okay.
That's pretty much about the geography.
All right, so those are the 18 weapons, or I'm sorry, 18 elements of ninjutsu training. And as we go further into episodes, we'll get more into each individual one. Like, we might do a whole episode on each one, you know. I don't know. We'll see. Cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Like I said, the sword show will definitely make a whole show up because I like to talk about all the differences between each sword.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we're going to have video, too.
Hopefully I have some nice ones I can show off by then. So, yeah, swords are exciting, and we'll do a whole show on those for sure.
Okay, well, I have a corny ninja joke for you because I like to leave the show with a joke. And before I do that, though, you guys, we're going to do a movie review on Enter the Ninja.
Yes, Enter the Ninja.
And that's going to be on our next episodes. And that's going to be video. So you might want to tune into that. And here is my corny ninja joke of the day. If a ninja kills in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
No, ninjas never make a sound.
Good answer. No, it makes a corpse. All right, so until next time.
Hiya!
Hiya!